Welcome back. President Trump is looking for an investigation into what he called triple sabotage at the United Nations earlier this week. Cheryl Castani now with the details. Cheryl, good morning.
It was quite a day. Good morning, Maria, for the president on Tuesday. Now, he says the Secret Service is now investigating what he calls triple sabotage. After his time at the UN Tuesday, the president's demanding answers after an escalator came to a screeching halt when he and the First Lady stepped on. And then later that morning, the teleprompter goes dark while he was giving his address to the assembly. And then Trump also says the sound was off during his remarks, and only those with interpreters speaking into earpieces could even hear him. The UN reports that they have already ordered a thorough investigation. They're, quote, ready to cooperate in full transparency with relevant U.S. authorities, they say. Well, Meta, the parent of Instagram and Facebook, detailing in a new post that hundreds of millions of teens are now in teen accounts across their platforms, and they're expanding the accounts to teens around the world for Facebook and Messenger. The program was launched a year ago, and it's aimed at limiting who teenagers are talking to online and the content that they see. And Meta launched the school partnership program as well. For all U.S. middle and high schools on Instagram, educators can report safety concerns like bullying directly in the app, and they can flag accounts or content that violate community standards on the app. In the post, here's what Meta wrote. While we're focused on providing young people with built-in protections and giving parents ways to directly manage their teens' experiences, we recognize there are many who play a role in keeping teens safe, including teachers and schools. Company says this will fast-track and prioritize reviews of the content they deem problematic. Promise the reviews will be done within 48 hours. All right. Well, it is a very interesting story for you right now. It's about Ford. They are recalling more than 115,000 trucks over a defect that potentially could lead to a loss of steering control in the vehicles. This impacts the F-250, F-350, F-450 vehicles made between 2020 and 2021. Ford dealers will handle inspections and repairs. Letters are going to be mailed out on October 6th. Let's take a look at the stock right now. Shares of Ford are unchanged in the pre-market. Well, you might have seen this on social media. The White House unveiling the new Presidential Walk of Fame featuring framed portraits of the U.S. president. But when you get to President Biden's photo, not exactly his face. Well, it's the autopen. Yeah. President Trump decided to use a picture of the autopen for his predecessor, Joe Biden. White House doing a lot of posting on that yesterday. And then there is a new report finding that Gen Z is facing a harsh new financial reality. Their credit scores are plunging. The average FICO score for this generation is 676. That's well below the national average of 715. Experts say pandemic spending, student loans, and poor money management, all factors here. Meanwhile, a new Wall Street Journal op-ed asked this question: is Gen Z unemployable? Hiring managers prize achievement, learning, and work. Today's youth value pleasure and individuality. Now, it's written by Susie Welch, a professor at NYU's Stern School of Business, the widow of the legendary Jack Welch. In it, she details findings of her research, which she says, quote, agitated nearly everyone, she wrote. One of the most startling things here, just 2% of Gen Z members hold the values that companies want most in new hires, namely achievement, learning, and an unbridled desire to work. That's what the companies want. Take a look at the hiring manager's desired values for these new employees. It's really interesting. They say, okay, achievement, that's very important. Wanting accomplishment, success, other people can see. That comes in 11th for Gen Z. 61% say they wish they had less of it in their lives. Number 2, scope, desire to learn, action, stimulation. That's 10th for Gen Z on their side. Work centricism, desire to work for work's sake. That's 9th of the priorities of Gen Z. 2% of Gen Z respondents identified achievement, scope, and work centrism in their values. So she starts this class at NYU, and she created the class herself because she wanted to see if she could help students find purpose. Well, her research, Marie, doesn't really show a lot of purpose here for Gen Z. They've got some pretty strange wishes at the top of the list for them. Very interesting.
Mark, what do you say?
Well, look, I mean, a lot of this has to do with parenting and just the culture that was created. I mean, we have to understand that a lot of Gen Z grew up in a participation trophy culture where winning or achieving was diluted, and even if you lose, you still win, you still get a trophy. So that's a huge issue. Now, what I will say, I agree with pretty much everything that was said. But I have found over the course of the last year some incredible Gen Z hires. Now, I had to disqualify a lot along the way to identify these people who share those same values. And for us, one of those most important values is winning, the desire to win. We want to win new clients. We want to deliver wins to our existing clients.
What do you think, Lee?
Well, I think that this generation's in big trouble. I mean, they have an attitude problem, they have an aptitude problem, and when people are looking to hire, there's, as Mark's saying, there's some diamonds in the rough out there, but it's really, really tough. And when you think about it, it takes so much work to onboard a young person who doesn't have experience with basic, email and Microsoft tools. They're all on. They don't have the right tool, and we can get what they deliver with AI now. So I think there's a big risk to what's going to happen with these kids, and their parents are keeping them at home longer and paying for them. So I think that's got to stop too if these kids want to get out there and change that attitude.
All good points.